All right, Akiba, welcome, because not only did you get to see us popping open some boxes, and of course, this used to be filled with 50 capsules, and we went through all of those. Yeah, get that Windows 98 game. It's not like you can't find it somewhere. Yeah, so I hope that you've enjoyed that. And Akiba, we're going to get you in on what we do in our workshop. We have a random character creation that we do as a part of a workshop where we'll tell a story, we'll develop a dungeon, we'll do a lot of different things. And so, you know what, let's get some other music going here. Let's get some tavern music playing. There we go. And you can find out the process that we undergo when we are creating characters, because we don't do optimization. I'm not here for extreme math. I'm here to make compelling characters that really any of us can see ourselves playing. Now, this week in the workshop, we've been going over the Unearthed Arcana, which is the Lurker in the Deep patron for the Warlock and the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. Yes, we actually, this is primarily a workshop channel. We do play on Tuesdays. That way you know that I can walk the walk and talk the talk. And I'm so fortunate to have amazing players in the community who play in the Tuesday game. And so as we go through this process, Akiba and everyone else out there, remember, if you have an idea, you want to throw something out there, do so. This is our character that we're building. So as you can see, we have a brand new character sheet opened up for whoever this is going to be. Now, we've already built singular Warlock, singular Sorcerer. Let's find out how the Warlock plays as a multi-class, but not to the Sorcerer, because we already did the subclass to subclass crossover. Yeah, Shukan, it is a big boat. And there's now a cat behind me. And so we are going to go to our character generator spreadsheet. Let's reset the last one. And here we go. Now, we know we're already going to multi-class. I'm not worried about this 10% chance. So we're going to roll 1 to 50 for female, 51 to 100 for male. Yep, cat butt. There we go. Whoop. Hi. Bye. So we have a male character, and we're only using the player's handbook to keep things back referencing the source material. If we start comparing Splatbook to Splatbook, so Xanathar's to Unearthed Arcana, we can have some weird interaction, or seemingly power creep, or perhaps it's just, you know... In 5th edition, everything's supposed to tie to the source, not tie into kind of a weird scaffolding. That has happened to provide a lot of creep in prior editions. So anyway, let's roll a 10-sided die. We rolled a 5. We have a half-elf. And in particular here, I'm going to roll this again for odds or evens. Do we favor our human descent, or do we favor... It looks like I'll have to refill this in as an option. Pardon. Or do we favor our elvish descent? Now, this isn't something talked about in the player's handbook but for the type of content we make, if we need a decision, you know, if it's kind of 50-50, what could nudge us to one side or the other, make it 51-49? And so we rolled evens. So this half-elf favors his elven descent. That could take place culturally, linguistically. That could be a genetic favoring. It could be he appears a lot more elven than human. You know, almost passing for a full-blooded elf, perhaps. And for this exercise, we're going to use the balanced odds here. So let's roll a percentile set. We rolled an 85. So we have a neutral evil male half-elf. We're already going to roll an 18th level character, so we're not going to do a random character level. 18 because that's the level we're making all the party members for this exercise, as level 18 is the capstone for the sorcerer subclass, the Aberrant Mind. and we want to have things be even across the board. Now, what we will roll for is if we're going to replace any stat bumps with feats. Roll a percentile. Nope, we're going all stat bumps. Multi-class? It's not necessarily an aversion to it, but especially considering it's already 3:30 in the morning. Multi-classing, it can be fun, but not right now. Cold Spark. You're killing me. Old lady here, the context still seems foreign to me. Never, no, you never did Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, for the concept of power creep, yeah. Multi-class? Lilu Dallas multi-class? Now, what is our character's background? I love backgrounds in 5th ed. Absolument. There are 13. This shows 18 because it breaks out the kind of the sub backgrounds. So let's generate an 18-sided die and randomly roll the background for this character in order to let's find out who he is. We want our character's character. We rolled a 1, an Acolyte. In before Urchin? Well, so we went from one extreme to the other, Shukan. Alright, so we have some prompts. Let's start filling this in so I don't forget. We have a male half-elf who favors his elven heritage in some way. Of course, they are medium-sized. Alignment neutral evil, so he tends to be more selfish. You know, his goals and priorities come first. It doesn't mean he has to burn down orphanages and kick puppies in the street because I'm evil, and that's what evil people do. Ha ha ha! You know, scheme, scheme, scheme. We can have someone who is, you know, he appears as a jerk to other people because, hey, I'm walking here. Hey, my plans come first, or I'm going to save my own hide before other people's. Our background is an Acolyte. Also, we know that we are going to be running a multi-classed, a Warlock, Lurker, and something else with a subclass of its own. And we'll determine that in just a little bit. And then, of course, whatever the split is going to be that. All right. So we have our background. We need a couple more placeholders. 2 personality traits, an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. I'm going to roll the dice randomly here. If I wasn't rolling them randomly, then they're cheaty dice. If any of you played Munchkin, you know those are good. Our personality traits are 2 and 6. And our ideal, bond, and flaw is 2, 4, 1. Very good. Oh, the Don Cheadle Captain Planet? Oh, I was cracking up at that, Akiba. Selfish as a crustacean. Ah, because we're taking on the formatting. So yes, we have a we have a Squidward, I guess. I scry with my little eye, a stream of greatness. Master Mage, thank you so much for the compliment and welcome. There you go. There you go, Akiba. Also, Akiba, we have a workshop on our Discord where you can download all the content we make in our workshop week for free, including characters that are made on this character sheet. all of our, any of the PDFs, any of the maps, any of the NPC generation notes, and all of that. It's all available for you to download and use, or modify the worksheet and run it yourself and have fun. It's not, I'm not going to get upset. Oh no, people are being creative and having fun and finding ways to, maybe overcome something that was challenging them before. Yeah, you're very welcome, Akiba. All right, so we have our placeholders. I don't know what any of those numbers indicate. We're going to find out soon enough. But we have to keep going. Now we are here. Finally. We overcome that old crummy background. Who needs those anyway? We want to know the bidness. This golden D12 is going to determine which class we are going to multi-class into from our Lurker in the Deep patron Warlock. That being said, I am going to re-roll if we get Warlock. I'm also going to re-roll if we get Sorcerer, because we already made the Sorcerer-Warlock hybrid. So if any of you want to, if you get a feeling, throw that number or throw that class. Hark is betting on Bard. You're hoping for a Bard Warlock, a Bard lock. You want a Paladin, Akiba? TJ's hoping for a Warlock. A Monk? I think a Monk with this kind of Warlock would be a lot of fun. Master Mage wants a Sorcerer. Get out of here. A Ranger. Ranger would be fun, too. Alright, so here we go, everyone. I got this big golden D12. And 7. Paladin. We are making a Warlock Paladin. Now, in particular, what kind of Paladin? There are 4 different ones in the core rulebooks that we can manufacture. Oath of Ancients, Devotion, Oath of Devotion, an Oathbreaker Paladin, or a Vengeance Paladin. I'm going to roll a D4 to determine. We have an Oath of Ancients. An Oath of Ancients Paladin. So let's drop that in here. Pneumatica. Kiba, that's what we think Travis Willingham did, because the Wild Mother is technically an ancient. There are other people in the channel who'll get that reference, Akiba. I have not seen Critical Role, so references are like, woo. I have nothing against the show. I just haven't seen it. Okay. Now, as we have a half-elf, let's go through all the races here and find the half-elf. Eladrin, Drow, Sea Elf, Shatter Kai. Here we go, half-elf. Alright, I'm going to roll a percentile set to find out where in our life is our character. Many of us might make characters that reflect, give or take our own ages. A good roleplay challenge? Make someone who this is probably their last adventure. Or someone who is just starting out, like like an anime protagonist, like 10, like Pokemon, or like 15 or whatever for a lot of other shonen styles. But let's roll randomly. We rolled a 6. Oh, we were almost a child prodigy. However, we are a young adult half-elf. Almost a child prodigy. We're a young adult half-elf. And so that means we... now, this is also... this is physical, like biological age. In society, a legal age may be different than what we're determining. But this role is the life cycle spread out through the stages of how long a race lives. And then it's split up into the same stages for each of the races, if that makes sense. So we're going to roll a 1d7 and then add 13 years. He is a young adult at 19 years old. And what has he seen to make him kind of bitter? This neutral evil character who is very powerful at that. You know, who has he served? And to what end? Young adult at 19. He's little babby. Now, the base height for a half-elf is 4'9". We're going to add 2d8 inches to his height. We're adding 5 inches. So he is 4'14". In some other places, they call that 5'2", but that's dumb. Now, we're going to take that modifier, that 5, and we're going to multiply it by 2d4 and then add that to the base weight. 5 times 6 is 30, so he's 140 pounds. This is not his armor, it's not his stuff, this is just him. Chin fuzz and all. Okay, so congratulations everyone, we have a character. Thank you very much for the workshop. In all seriousness though, we have all of the seeds planted that we need to watch the character now grow and flourish one step at a time. Just like a plant, you know, one season at a time. Like a child, you know, 1 year at a time. We're going to develop the character bit by bit and see what happens. Hey, I'm open-minded to how someone gets their powers. All right, so we don't need this, but everyone, I hope that in this workshop you remembered. Now, Akiba, you get a pass because you're now a part of the class. If all of you remembered, you got to open up to Chapter 4 in the Player's Handbook, because here on Medimorgs, we start with the background. The background is very important to a character. A stool needs 3 legs to be stable, and your character in 5th Ed D&D sits atop this stool of race, class, and background. Or like a World of Warcraft character, one in-game purchase at a time. The dude sleepwalked right into the loving arms of Cthulhu, says Master Mage. So we're going to go to Acolyte, which conveniently is the first one because it starts with the letter A. Isn't that delightful? And we can now begin to understand who we're dealing with. Because a lot of, race and class is more of a what. I want to know who this character is. How does he make decisions? What is in his heart of hearts? Now, I'm not going to read the fluff here. I'm presuming you have player's handbooks or you want to read it on while it's up on screen, and that's fine. I'm going to extract some of the mechanics, and we can read a little bit into the crunch through some fluff. All right, so we have skill proficiencies with insight and religion, as we have served in some kind of a faith or a cult or a temple or something of some kind, an organized religion of some kind. So insight and religion are going to be our background skill proficiencies. We're going to get 2 languages of our choice, and as it happens, half-elves speak Common, Elven, one other of their choice, and now we're getting 2 others of our choice, because we must serve the greater populace. Our equipment is going to be a holy symbol, a prayer book or a prayer wheel. I'm going to put prayer item. And the reason why I'm doing that is because either the holy symbol or the prayer book / wheel, I think would be well served to manifest as a trinket. And that trinket, like they have with the other characters here, have been the missing piece that has drawn them into their powers. And ultimately, drawn them together from all walks of life to serve the purpose of the adventure that they're going on. And so I'm going to put the prayer item is going to be trinket number something, and we'll roll that in a little bit here. We also get 5 sticks of incense. We'll get some proper vestments, vestment, a set of common clothies, and a belt pouch containing 15 gapuz. The adventure is the search for the most perfect French silk cheesecake at all costs, blood and souls. Dude, French silk is really good stuff. Je suis un baguette. Oh, mais oui. Tu es une baguette? Je suis la jeune fille. We have a feature called Shelter of the Faithful. We can go to other temples, cults, or other shrines that have other people of our faith, and we can receive room and board for ourselves and even those who follow us. As I would imagine, a very selfish and neutral evil person. Yeah, they're definitely following him. He's the important one. All this talk of tasty desserts while I'm creating a rotten disease-riddled dungeon is not meshing. What are you talking about? Misfit, tasty desserts and rotten disease-riddled dungeon? How else would you describe a tooth that has cavities? Think of the interior of a tooth that has cavities and stuff from all the sugar from desserts. Needing a root canal or a bunch of fillings. Right? In the rooms are the different teeth, and you travel from room to room through the gums. Misfit, it writes itself. Misfit, it writes itself. This is the magic of our workshop. Oh. It's all right there for you. Everything you wish. Iwi. It writes itself. Yeah, so the players are the gum disease known as gingivitis. I thought that's what I thought that was that one druid spell that makes that medicinal herb garden grow, gingivitis. It makes all your ginger plants just like bloom all at once. So we have Shelter of the Faithful. Next up, we have our personality traits. Heck yeah, let's get to know our multi-classed character. All right, you heard O'Shape's channel's done. Actually, I have something that can kind of simulate that. Channel open. A little DM advice: variants on the onomatopoeia of skidoo are really good for action. I mean, you have your classic skidoo, But then you got your ado. Anyway. But D&D, there you go, Misfit. Now I'm going to scoot this over. Boop, 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 boop. So you all can read the personality traits alongside. Have a good night, Refry. Thank you for hanging out with us. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Now, his first personality trait is number 2. I can find common ground between the fiercest enemies. Empathizing with them and always working toward peace. And his second personality trait is number 6. I am tolerant or intolerant of other faiths and respect or condemn the worship of other gods. I am tolerant of other faiths and respect the worship of other gods. Now, I'm going to put these in brackets because maybe he is not tolerant and he does not respect. We don't know. We got to get to know him better. All will be revealed. Much like the penguins in Madagascar will tell you. Now, his ideal is number 2, charity. I always try to help those in need, no matter what the personal cost. And now, hold up a cotton-picking moment. Gall darn it. Matty Morgs, we have a neutral evil character. It says so right there at the tippy top. And yet you have the cojones to put a good ideal in his ideal slot. And it says right there, plain as day, red letter. Good. In parentheses, no doubt. How do you square that circle? It's easy. Remember, your alignment is simply the expression of yourself. It is the result of what makes it through your brain-to-mouth filter. Hey, stop it. Hi. I love you. But you can't do that. So I'm going to touch your nose. Alright, call it even. Alright, Misfit. Have a great day, Misfit. So we have, again, neutral evil. So we have someone who prefers his own methods. Right? Over others. What could that mean? Especially, this is sounding so touchy-feely. I can find common ground between people? I'm tolerant of other faiths? I'm supposed to be evil. I have puppies in the middle of the road to kick. I have orphanages to burn down because they exist and are on my path to the grocery store. Charity? Charity? I'm neutral evil. Of course. Consider this. His own methodology is usurping perhaps the orthodoxy of his faith. And when he is sent into the world to proselytize, to evangelize, to bring that brand, that faith's brand, into the world, he does it his own way. A good example of someone like this. Have any of you watched Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Quark. Quark is a neutral evil person with good ideals. So too is who's the Taylor's name? It's escaping me. Who's the Cardassian Taylor's name? Shame on me. You know, they're selfish people. They're arguably evil. But they're not bad people. They just have their priorities first. The Ferengi, you know, when the Grand Nagus visits, you know, Quark! Where are the Nissinian berries for the shipment through the wormhole? The Dominion's been waiting on them, Quark! You know, Garrick, thank you, Pneumonica. Thank you. That was gonna make me scratch my noggin something fierce. You know, there is a culture, and Quark is a part of the Ferengi culture, but he's doing things his own way, which is why he's out in, you know, ear-rubbing Egypt, okay? Elim Garrick, okay. And so this is that type of character. We can absolutely have a good ideal, and maybe even be from a cult or a bad guy religion of some kind, and be neutral evil, but have the, I believe in charity, because I'm helping people the way that I think they need to be helped. And sometimes, you know, no matter the personal cost, I will not give in. You know, people who cannot swim on their own, you know, mustn't do whatever. Or you know, it could be a good ideal. You know, charity just, well, turned on its ear. It's not a Ferengi expression. It should be, if it's not. Hey, Civil Hermit. This was a run-of-the-mill nature paladin until he couldn't tolerate any more civilization's offenses. I don't mind that, Civil. However, we're starting out as the Lurker and the Deep Warlock, and then the Paladin is the multi-class we're going into from starting out as the Warlock. And yeah, but that's a good example. Even if it means turning cities into rubble, he will fight to free people from those iron shackles of society, that kind of a thing. Now, what is his bond to the world? What links him in? If you're the DM for this character, what is going to link him into your world? A person, a place, a thing? And well, I was going to say an ideal. We already have an ideal. The bond is number 4. Creativity. Whoops. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Not creativity. Totally by creativity, I meant everything I do is for the common people. Everything I do is for the common people. Big Papa Palpatine in Star Wars absolutely wanted to unite everyone under one government that wasn't bogged down with indecision and petty infighting. Tell me I'm wrong. Who cares about that, Civil? Forget about it. Forget about it, huh? We started with Sorcerer and then went into Fighter with the last character. Exactly. Now, what is his flaw? Because we are all flawed creatures, my friends. Yes, I'm talking to you and Nisa. You got one somewhere. I'm not even going to bother looking. All right, his flaw is 1. I judge others harshly and myself more severely. Everything I do, I'm doing for the betterment of everyone, of others, and I feel like I'm failing. Now look at this. From a couple prompts, right? We know the basics of the class that we'll get to, but we have that as the seed. We understand he comes from a mixed heritage. And how does that affect him? He is a person of faith, an acolyte in some kind of a religion. And now we really get to know him. Instead of just saying, yeah, we're running a half-elf Warlock Paladin. that can describe a character in part. We now are getting to know the character. We have entertained circumstances with this character that didn't exist before a random number was rolled. That is what I love about this creation process. I can find common ground between the fiercest enemies, empathizing with them and always working towards peace. I am tolerant or intolerant of other faiths and respect or condemn the worship of other gods. Now, given kind of what we're building towards of that, you know, I'm wrecking society because society's wrecking you. You don't have to like what I do, but I'm doing it for your own good. I would dare say can we mix the two? Can he be tolerant of other faiths, but condemn the worship of other gods? And I believe so. He realizes they exist, and he probably believes that they're mistaken. I'm fine. I'm not going to slay you just because you have a different faith. However, I disagree with your choice of deity. I think that this would work out very well for this character. Yes, self-flagellation, perhaps. You know, so we have someone who scourges his own body as a way to repent for actually all the good that he's done because he feels like he's never done enough. And when we're coming up with this story, notice these are blank. These 6 circles, and they're going to remain blank until almost the exact end of the character creation process. Because these numbers, I do not care about them. They're not important right now for our character. These numbers come as a result of all the important work we're doing right now. A spiritual atheist, they believe in spiritual power but think that deities are imperious wrongdoers. Basically, he's an evil Buddhist. They disagree out of necessity but accept by requirement. So yeah, these are different ways to, I think, approach this mentality. Man, for 4 o'clock in the morning, y'all are... You're pretty sharp. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Alright, now that we have our background... Let's discover who are we as a half-elf, as a part of our identity. Oh, so yeah, this is standard issue Pneumonica. All right, we have a base speed of 30 feet, so 30, 15, 15 for climb, swim, 0 fly. We have 0 fly, everyone, and probably 0 chill also. We do have dark vision out to 60 feet. Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't do that. I mean, if you want to go like Bishonen, you know, anime style, long white hair. Oh, we have a 51 swim. Apparently we're really good at swimming. We will with Warlock, especially this one. Shh. Alright, we have dark vision, we have Fey ancestry, we have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put us to sleep. So we have Fey ancestry. In fact, I'm gonna scoot this over so y'all can see what's happening. Fey ancestry, so we have advantages versus being charmed. I'm sorry everyone, he's resistant to your charms. Doesn't mean he can't succumb, but it's gonna be tough. You're gonna have to earn it. Now, skill versatility. You gain proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. Well, let's take a look. You know, being an acolyte, we were taught to be insightful, and we have knowledge of religion. What are 2 other skills that come to mind? If we're trying to find common ground between the fiercest enemies, empathizing with them, and always working towards peace. Persuasion seems to come to mind. I could also argue history, because if we can look back into history for both sides, we can perhaps draw some comparisons and start if not healing, then maybe we can at least like zipper up the schism between them. Charity. I always try to help those in need, no matter the personal cost. Everything I do is for the common people. This could also be performance. Because, yes, you're giving charity. But I'm doing it for the people! Listen to me! Listen! You must understand the grand design! I'm trying to persuade you that my way is the correct way. Yes, I want to destroy civilization. Comma, but this is why. I judge others harshly and myself more severely. I do believe that this is that this would be insight also, and we already have insight. Oh, Sheeps, you know you'd go to his big tent revival. Come on. You're already in the aisles. All right, so we have, I think we're talking about persuasion and performance. All right. And again, we're picking our skills not because, well, no one took perception, so I guess I'll be the perceptive one. And I guess it makes sense because people need to look around at the world. I mean, I get that. And I'm not a curmudgeon about that. If, you know, if I'm running for a party where someone's like, no one took insight, I guess I'll be the insight person. But we're making a character that is the result of his life and his lifestyle that has led to the point at which we meet him. And we already have our languages, so we're good here. Now, we do get, for our ability score increase, charisma increases by 2. And then we get to increase 2 other stats by 1. And if we're going to multi-class into Paladin, we need charisma, so that's fine. And we need charisma for Warlock anyway, so that's double duty. But we will need strength, so we should bolster our strength. After that, we have a floating 1. And if we have someone that self-flagellates... pardon his flagellations, everyone. I think that Constitution... Akiba? Hey, on it like a bonnet. I think Constitution would work because he's built his body up to be this... a temple unto his own sort of, protest against the orthodoxy of his faith. And look, again, I don't know the scores here. It's irrelevant right now. We're telling a story by putting these numbers in place. I love it. All right, now, we are going to build... Are you all right? Yeah, you didn't... That jump didn't go off so well, huh? She's okay. We're going to build our Warlock, and then we're going to put our Paladin on top of the Warlock. And so the question becomes, now that we have these other steps, where do we want to make the break? Now, because I want to feature the Lurker Warlock more, at minimum, I want to tie the 2 at 9 and 9. However, I would prefer that Warlock be dominant to Paladin in some way. And a way that we could go through and do this would be, you know, take a look at the breaks where we get things. And so this could be, you know, we have our otherworldly patron feature. This is our capstone at 14, which would mean that we take 4 levels of Paladin. And if we did that, what would Paladin give us in here? We'd get an ability score improvement and some stuff against poison. You know, it's not bad. We could probably ramp this up a little bit, though. And maybe do something like, you know, we get a Sacred Oath feature at level 7. And so if we went 11 and 7, we'd be denying ourselves. We'd be denying ourselves some ability score improvements, which you can do. It's not a bad thing to do, because then you just go for your 19th character level and 20th. You can cap them both off and go, you know, 12 and 8. But if we went, what happens if we go 12 and 8? Actually, if we went 9 and 9, we would bust into that extra Paladin spell slot. And what would Warlock get at 9? Warlock gets that 10th spell, so we don't have to worry about that drifting. And we do have our 5th level spells as well. And we would also just bust into our invocations known at 5. But at 10, we get an otherworldly patron feature. 9 and 9 is tempting, but if only, I know it's a contrivance, for the sake of exploring Unearthed Arcana, let's at least make it to the 10th level otherworldly patron feature and split it at 10 and 8. So, if only on this, humor me, please. Alright, so let's build 10 levels of Warlock. And we're going to do that. We're going to build Warlock first, and then we're going to worry about the subclass. So now that we're starting to get kind of deep and dark in the ocean, let's go to something that is a little aquatic sounding, shall we? We got to go blub blub blub. That was my first thought before we knew about that otherworldly patron. My D&D force is strong. There you go. I'm glad you chose a random D&D stream at this time of day, and I'm so glad you're finding synergy with all of us here, Akiba. Thank you for taking that chance and clicking on some goofy dude with white earphones and talking about whatever, pulling minis, and you found a fun adventure, and that's what this is all about. All right, so 10 levels of pure Warlock. It just so happens that we get 10 D8 hit die because Warlocks are D8 hit die classes, and we have 10 levels. Isn't that a coinky dink? So 10 D8 hit die from Warlock. We are going to get proficiency with light armor and simple weapons. No tool proficiencies. Saving throw is going to be wisdom and charisma. And now we get to choose 2 more skills. Arcana, deception, history, intimidation, investigation, nature, and religion. Hey, yeah, thanks, Twitch. Cheers. What happened? Depends on when you zonked out, Hark. Well, we have religion from being an acolyte. Now, remember, we are an oath of ancients. So we're talking about, primordial, which, by the way, Lurker in the Deep, I think that we have the same patron as we do for our Paladin. The Oath of Ancients is our elementals. They're primordial beings in that sense. I think nature could be a big part of it. I do not actually see him as a deceiver. He is honest. He is brutally honest. Or brutal and honest. So I don't think that deception, or, you know, even in, I don't know if intimidation is really his shtick. You know, yeah, again, we might fall for it and say he's evil, of course. He's, you know, where is she? Kind of a thing. I don't know. I can find common ground, and I'm tolerant of other faiths, and condemn the worship of other gods, but that doesn't mean that we bully people about it. We just, you know, kind of, you know, curl our lip a little bit, and like, well, maybe one day they're going to find the, you know, the right path. So we have charity. I always try and help those in need, no matter the personal cost. Everything I do is for the common people, and I judge others harshly and myself more severely. You think he'd intimidate by accident? He's giving you Thranduil vibes from The Hobbit. So how would that manifest then? Investigation could help support his personality trait that he finds common ground. Okay, so... Well, so he already has performance and persuasion, which could be that overcome. But as harsh as he is and can come across, because if he sees a dire need, the world is dying or falling apart or something. I think investigation and nature would be in good order here. Okay, we shall do so. Starting equipment, I'm not worried about it. It's an 18th level character. Congratulations, we get a light crossbow. However, an arcane focus could very much be his trinket, which is his holy symbol or his prayer item. And you know what? Before we go any further steps, why don't we go and see what odd standoutish trinket that this character has that is presumably leading him on this path of worship and ruination, or rather rebirth through it. So chapter 5. We have had some uncanny trinkets for the types of lurking characters and aberrant mind characters that we've made. It's been really spooky. We have a phrase on this channel, Akiba, called "It Writes Itself," or Iwi. If you like Owos and Uwus, we have Iwis here. It writes itself. Through the processes that we use, the story unfolds in front of you with very little baffling head scratching or even a ton of effort. Everything fits, everything connects, everything is a grown, organically grown, natural, unfurling story. So let's roll a percentile and find out, does the story continue to write itself? We rolled 99. Oh, we've had, of our characters, I think most of them have been in the 90s. A wooden box with a ceramic bottom that holds a living worm with a head on each end of its body. I should get an Iwi emote or something. Oh my gosh. Who grants our prayers? The worm. Who guides us and whispers to us as our patron? The other face of the worm. What is the odd thing that gives our magic just this something? The strangeness, that is going to be inherent with our Lurker. As we manifest tentacles, or in this case, worms. A devouring maw. The grasp of the deep that can also defend. The ability to talk to animals. I don't pre-program this stuff, everyone. This is what happens, and this is what we get. We open ourselves up, and we just let what needs to happen, happen. This is an amazing process. It's liberating, honestly. And you know what? This is not optimal because we probably should have started with Paladin. As Civil Hermit, I think, was talking about, which in other circumstances we may very well. But here, you know what? We're starting with Warlock, and we're going to end with Paladin, and we're going to see how this goes. What about a twin personality worm? One for each face, one influences, one class. Yeah, Hark, that is an implication, exactly. Exactamundo. So he carries around a finger box. I don't know if any of you if you remember that meme. And you know what? We have someone who sort of is self-punishing, self-flagellation. We have this creature inside that bestows power upon someone of faith. We have a box. I don't have a good example. There is a scene from Dune. Now, if I just say that, are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? The worm is in the box. Fear is the mind killer. I will face my fear, and I will let it pass through me. Do you know what happens in that scene? Any Dune fans out there? Oh, you're quoting... Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry I didn't catch that, Akiba. I'll have to find it and put it in chat. Let's just say he has to stick his yes, Pneumonica coming in here. A young Paul Atreides sticks his hand in in a lady's box. Da-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. He has to prove himself because inside the box is something presumably very, very nasty. What if our person actually recharges himself as he prays by having the right hand and the left hand go inside the box with the worm, and the worm bites his fingers? Hey, Diadems, effectively injecting him with the magic, the faith, the manifestation, the spice, in a sense. The juice, to avoid copyright. And that is a test of his faith. Every morning, this grotesque worm, maybe with like the mouth of a lamprey, just affixes itself to his fingers as he's holding the box. And he just feels this foreign entity just injecting into him, flowing through his body. And it's empowering. And it's fearsome. It's absolutely frightening. But you know what paladins don't do? Paladins don't do fear. Because they face their fear and they let it pass through them. And the entity in the box is what's doing this. Yeah, exactly, Pneumonica. It was psychological. It was meant to sort of like simulate something gross happening. Is that a good idea for a character like this? Like, are you all resonating with this? All right, let's go back to Warlock. As a level 10 Warlock. Well, first as a level 18 character, our proficiency bonus is 6. That being said, we're going to know 4 cantrips. 1, a 2, a 3, a 3. Spells known, we're going to get to that. We are going to have 2 spell slots of 5th level. This won't stay 0 for long, but roll with me. And we're going to know 5 invocations. Actually, this should be more like level 2. And then we get our next one at level 2. And then we get our third one at 6. No, I'm sorry, 5, 7, 9. And I do this, you can actually swap out your invocations when you level up, kind of like spells. But also, some of them have certain level requirements, so it can help us build. The pain box or the boo box from Hook. Pneumonica, yes, take a bow, Pneumonica. All right. What else? We already have our light armor and such. Oh, yeah, because we're talking about this. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't roll which pact we're getting. Are we a blade lock? Are we a chain lock? Or are we a tone loc? Low rider. Anyway. Roll the pact. So here we go. We have, let's go back to our character sheet. Dun 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 dun. Class features. Warlock Pact, Blade, Chain, Tome. We also have to do this for our fighting style for Paladin. Roll a d3 and let's see what we get. We are a... Whoop, add 0. We're not adding 13 to this. Goodness. We are a chain pact. I think that works very well. I'd even argue that... I'd argue then that our familiar is also the worm. You can counter-argue me if you'd like. We are a chain pact Lurker of the Deep Warlock. Chain pact. And when we come over here for our Paladin class stuff, our fighting style is... I'm going to roll fighting style. Our fighting style is a D4. We rolled 2. He's a defensive fighter. If that one doesn't make a lot of sense, it might not. But let's roll with it and see what we can do. Let's challenge ourselves. We can always... Wait, what? Dueling? No, I rolled a 2 for that. And 2 is defense. Oh, wait, no, hang on. I was looking at the fighter. You're right. It's not defense. It is dueling. Ah, that makes things a little easier? Half sweat? You're right, the Paladin fighting style. Yeah. It is 4:30 in the morning. So there we go. Yeah, you're doing really well. All right, now let's go back to this. We have our Chain Pact. We already have our Patron, which is fine. We're going to worry about that in just a little bit here. We're not high enough level to get a Mystic Arcanum, however, because we're only 10 levels. So, arguably, the 11-7 would be kind of interesting if we wanted to split there, because that would give us the Paladin. I mean, I guess it's not too late if we didn't want to, but, yeah, whatever. Just saying, you get your Mystic Arcanum at 11th level. However, besides choosing our invocations, that's it. That's what we get for Warlock. Now let's take a look at what our subclass is going to do for us. So we have our Warlock archetype, or subclass, and this is our Warlock class that we're getting. The Lurker in the Deep. You made a pact with an entity that lurks somewhere deep in the ocean or even on the elemental plane of water, such as a mighty kraken, an ancient primordial, or a monstrous being from creation's earliest days. You serve as this creature's eyes and ears, watching the world beyond its domain and reporting your findings. You may have gained this pact as a member of a cult dedicated to the entity, or after your patron saved your life when you nearly drowned at sea. Several feature Lurkers of the Deep create tentacles or a maw that reach into the world. The form of these appendages should reflect the nature of your specific patron. For example, a Kraken's Warlock might summon a great squid-like tentacle, serrated crab claws, or a massive octopus beak, while the servant of a primordial water elemental might create tendrils or swells of living water. Now, we have an expanded spell list. These are not like Oath spells or the Sorcerer's Psionic spells. That's the other subclass. So these are things to consider, but this isn't going to be extra spells for us. These are simply ones that we can take for flavor. You're fully cooked and must attempt sleep now. Yeah, I'm glad you had fun. Thank you for joining us, Akiba. Yeah, Hark, I think we had touched on that. It's not bad because you'd probably just cap off. You'd go to level 19 and 20 by just by making a 12-8. So we're kind of just, 6 to 1 half dozen of the other. Because our 19 and 20 character levels would just top us off to be 11 and 9 instead of 10 and 8. I do believe. All right, so we are getting Grasp of the Deep. At first level, you gain the ability to magically summon a spectral tentacle, or a worm, that strikes at your foes. As a bonus action, you create a 10-foot-long tentacle at a point you can see within 60 feet of you. The tentacle lasts for 1 minute or until you use this feature to create another tentacle. When you create the tentacle, you can make a melee spell attack against a creature within 10 feet of it. On a hit, the target takes 1d8 cold or lightning damage, and its speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. When you reach 10th level in this class, the damage dealt by the tentacle increases to 2d8. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the tentacle up to 30 feet and repeat the attack. You can summon the tentacle a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. It's kind of like a spiritual weapon for clerics. And the combination we have, actually, of especially of an Ancients Paladin, with this kind of Warlock, is super juicy. I love it. So we have Grasp of the Deep. We are also a Scion of the Deep. And what does that mean? At first level, your patron accepts you into its inner court of servitors. we passed the test. We put our hand in the box. You can telepathically communicate with any aberration, beast, elemental, or monstrosity that has an innate swimming speed while it is within 120 feet of you. The creature can understand you and can respond telepathically. Fathomless Soul. At 6th level, your patron grants you greater abilities. You gain the following benefits. We can breathe air and water. We gain a swimming speed equal to our walking speed, so that goes up to 30. And you gain resistance to cold damage. There we go. Resistance to cold damage. We are also getting Guardian Grasp. At 6th level, the tentacle you create with Grasp of the Deep can defend you and others. When you or a creature you see takes damage while within 10 feet of the tentacle, you can use your reaction to choose one of those creatures and reduce the damage to the chosen creature by half. After doing so, the tentacle vanishes. See, we are a defensive paladin, aren't we? And we get the Devouring Maw. Oh, so good. Starting at 10th level, you can magically draw forth a manifestation of your patron's insatiable hunger. As an action, choose a point you can see within 60 feet of you. For a minute, a translucent maw manifests in a 10-foot radius centered on that point. Each creature in that area, when the maw appears, must succeed on a strength saving throw against your spell save DC or be restrained. Any creature that starts its turn in the maw's area takes 3d6 cold or lightning damage. As an action, a restrained creature can repeat the saving throw, ending the restraint on a success. At the start of your turn, if there is a creature in the maw's area, you gain temporary hit points equal to your Warlock level. So one of the worm faces manifests, and then the other one kind of, like latches onto you and like pumps you full of temporary hit points. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. And unfortunately, we're not going to get Unleash the Depths, which is cool, but I'm really happy with this all the same. You're right. Oh yeah, you. I think you mentioned that you're building an Ancients Paladin. So yeah, hopefully this is good. Good things to think about, Hark. So now let's go back to the player's handbook and let's talk about the invocations that that we're going to be getting here. You know, we have these abilities that are going to be granted to us by our patron. And of course, we're going to be getting abilities and things from being a paladin. Now, if we are a chain lock, there's Chains of Carceri. There's also Voice of the Chainmaster. You can communicate telepathically with your familiar and perceive through your familiar's senses as long as you are on the same plane of existence. Additionally, while perceiving through your familiar's senses, you can also speak through your familiar in your own voice, even if your familiar is normally incapable of speech. Absolutely, for a communicator like us, to get the word out, to get attention, and also to perceive remotely, to find out what are people talking about. How can we worm our way into their hearts and minds? I definitely think that voice of the Chainmaster works. What else? Beast speech could be interesting because I don't know, it might be redundant. Maybe our patrons more just work with us, work with the sea folk. So maybe not a broad beast speech. Bewitching Whispers could be good. You can cast Compulsion once using a Warlock spell slot. That could be good to get access to Compulsion because we do want to compel people to action. Now, if we did that, then Bewitching Whispers would be A 7th level. You can cast Bestow Curse. Ooh, that could be another good one, too. A Sign of Ill Omen. Minions of Chaos could be another one, because we could use Conjure Elemental. And we could conjure water elementals. But I don't know. I don't know if... Pardon. Oh. Misty Visions will give us Silent Image. Silent Image can help us convey a point to people. Thank you, O'Sheeps. Being able to read all writing, I don't know. We're more interested in our own point of view. I mean, we can find commonality with people. That could be on a... I mean, we can already speak 5 languages. I don't know if Eyes of the Runekeeper would be appropriate for him. I kind of like Dreadful Word. And we could take that at level 9 if we wanted to. Or, oh, you know what? Ascendant Step. You can cast Levitate on yourself at will without expending a spell slot or material components. He rises up above the masses and will either strike down with his sword or cast magic down upon people. Or just rise up above everyone. Listen to me, the good people of Merry Morgs. Check thyself. A forest thine wrecketh thyself. Ascendant Step, absolutely. So now we have a level 2 and a level 5. I think Misty Visions is going to help us convey what we need to do. Misty Visions. So that's going to give us Silent Image at will. And then we have something that is a minimum 5. Oh yeah, it was Sign of Ill Omen, so we can bestow a curse. Because sometimes you cast it just to make a point. Absolutely here. Excellent. All right. So congratulations, everyone. We have a Warlock. Specifically, a Lurker in the Deep Warlock. Who is thematically and mechanically built to do exactly who he is and what he does. So now, what we need to do is check Chapter 6. And find out, what does it take to become a Paladin? Well, we need a Strength and a Charisma of 13, and Warlock is 13, so that's going to be easily taken care of. We got Strength and Charisma out the wazoo. So what do we get by multi-classing? Multi-class. Light armor, medium armor, shields, simple weapons, and martial weapons. So we have simple and martial weapon training. We can wear light, medium armor, and use shields. And that's the gimmies from the proficiencies. So now we come back here to Paladin. And we are going to add 8 levels. 8 levels of Paladin. So that is going to give us 4 first level spell slots and 3 second level. So 4 and 3. And yes, we have 0 third and 0 fourth because we're not high enough for those Paladin spells. But we can upcast our Paladin spells through Warlock. And so we can upcast through 5th level twice if we need to. Because really, it's just, here's our Warlock. Now, we're going to tack on Paladin at the end. We are 8 levels of Paladin. That is going to be a D10. And because we're 8 levels of Paladin. Just that easy and redundant. Our proficiencies have already been provided to us through our multi-class, and you don't get the equipment from multi-classing, so we don't need to worry about that. So we are going to get Divine Sense, which is awesome as well. As if we're dealing with aberrations and in other creepy crawlies here, Celestial Fiend or Undead, because even though we might be more primordial, especially with this Fey ancestry, we're gonna run into a lot of extra things, and having this Divine Sense is important. And you know what? If you bug your DM, you might be able to replace something like Undead with Fey, or Celestials with Elementals, or another something else like that. All right, we're also going to get Lay on Hands. And that's going to provide us 5 points per level of healing or poison or disease removal. So that we have 40 hit points we can restore, or 8 times we can do those special dealios. The fact he can't be charmed is really churning some ideas in my head. So what's the idea? How are you explaining that he is resistant to being charmed? His fighting style, we chose dueling, so he's going to get a bonus if he's wielding a weapon in one hand and not the other, which effectively means no two-handed weapons or no dual DUAL wielding, but DUEL wielding. Spellcasting, we're going to get there. Divine Smite. So we get extra damage if we blow spells through our weapon to hit things. We also get Divine Health. So in addition to resistance to being charmed, resistance to cold damage, we also are immune to disease. Immune to disease. We're going to worry about our Sacred Oath in just a little bit here. We're going to get an extra attack at 5th level. We're going to get an Aura of Protection. Stick close to me. Listen to my words. I will keep you safe. Aura of Protection at 6th level. An Aura of Courage we do not get yet. So unfortunately, we can't go, you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you can't be frightened while you're conscious. Though that could be very flavorful. I don't know if we'd go 10 and 10. It would probably be an 11-9 split to make a 20th character, but this is still really cool. And again, I would argue that Aura of Protection is more powerful than Aura of Courage. If you ask your DM, because you want the flavor, you want to go to Flavor Town on this character, ask if you could swap your Aura of Courage and Protection. I would imagine your DM would be fine with that, because this honestly is more baffling to DMs than the Aura of Courage is. Anywho. That's what we get for being a Paladin. Dracus Atheon. Yeah, we are exploring the Unearthed Arcana subclasses for Sorcerer and Warlock that have been put out, and we are building multi-class characters in tonight's workshop. And did I pronounce your name correctly? Is it Dracus Atheon? Like one word, or is it like first name, last name of like Dracus, and then Atheon is the last name? Now, we have also sworn the Oath of the Ancients. Oh, I'm sorry. So I put the... I guess I'm so used to, with things ending in S. Draku, or Draku Sathion. Draku Sathion. Dracu-Sathion. I'm trying to remember that, so I'm saying it out loud several times. Dracu-Sathion. Dracu-Sathion. Okay. And you know what? Everything here, acts of mercy and kindness, where there is good, beauty, love, and laughter in the world, will stand the wickedness that will swallow it. Delight in song and laughter and the beauty of art. Be a glorious beacon for all who live in despair. This character absolutely is living up to this, to these tenets, as an Oath of the Ancients. Hey, Shukan, welcome back. Now, we are going to get some oath spells. Dun, da, 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 da. Ensnaring Strike. And Speak with Animals. Moonbeam. And Misty Step. This is such a cool build. And we're not 9th level, so don't have to worry about plant growth or protection from energy. We are going to get from our... we're going to get a Channel Divinity. Nature's Wrath. You can use your Chandiv to invoke primeval forces to ensnare a foe. As an action, you can cause spectral vines, or probably watery tendrils, to spring up and reach for a creature within 10 feet of you that you can see. We are all sorts of wibbly-wobbly with our patron and even at the same time our deity that we serve. And Turn the Faithless. You can use your Chandiv to utter ancient words that are painful for Fae and Fiends to hear. So, Undead, we're neutral towards Undead. But Fae and Fiends, yes, we can turn them away. Because perhaps Undead, well, we are about nature and such. Undead are the product of man. However, as this force, as this primeval force, there are these other forces, the Fiends and the Fae, that are trying to corrupt and influence from an extra planar, or like an extra, extrasensory? That's not the right word. Point of view. Undead can be dealt with, because we make our own undead. We don't make Fae and we don't make Fiends. They are not from here, and they seek to corrupt and change. Now, what's interesting, because we are of Fae heritage, is that this could explain how we've gone from this sort of maybe like an elven orthodoxy, and we are the Protestant voice. We are the Martin Luther, putting our commandments up on the door. We're breaking off, and we're trying to save people from these influences. You're currently multi-classing a Paladin with Eldritch Knight. Oh, that does sound fun. That does sound fun, Dracu. Dracu-Sathion. Yep, Sheeps is planning. Fae, I guess it depends on the world in which you're playing and in the DM under which you're running. The Fae are very much supernatural. They're so natural that it comes back around and it becomes unnatural. Also, Catbutt. So we have our Oath spells, we have our Chandiv, and at 7th level, we do get an Aura of Warding. Beginning at 7th level, ancient magic lies so heavily upon you that it forms an Eldritch Ward. You and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you have resistance to damage from spells. Ooh! That is Hewegg. Absolutely. Absolument. Aura of Warding. All right, now let's go back, and we have now our Warlock and our Paladin. We've multi-classed. We've started with Warlock. We went into Paladin. We have our spell slots, which actually should be 4 and 3. I actually put 4 and 4. Drakusathion, thank you very much. So if we come down here, we have 4, 3, 0, 0, and then 2. Whoops. And then 2. Hey, if you see one, Diadems, let me know. Cantrips, we're getting 4 from being the Warlock that we are. 1, 2. I have to type around the cat here, especially because he loves laying on his side. And he's a heckin' chonker. 4 of those. For all of our spells, we're casting off of Charisma, so our spell casting, attack bonus, and save DC are going to be the same. So we are a Warlock, and we're also a Paladin. Spells prepared equals Charisma plus half Paladin. And we'll calculate that in a little bit, because we have our character. We just don't have those pesky numbers that people keep insisting we play with. We have enough content for a character to exist on his own. But I guess we'll give in to the man and put in some ability scores on the character. And so we'll do just that. We have the standard array, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. For sure. The 15. This person is absolutely charismatic. Absolutely. He is charismatic. He is strong. $15, $14, $13, $12, $10, and $8. Now, this may seem like a taboo. How dare you have 3 proficiencies for skills that are his dump stat? That's fine. It simply means he's really good at these 3 disciplines. Not just so much overall educated. And that's fine, because you know what? He has a very narrow focus for what he's read and what he believes, and for what he thinks he understands. I think this is absolutely fine. You keep forgetting about Paladin auras? Oh, yeah. Yep, I know, because Paladins are like, everyone stick together, but fireballs. I'm a Paladin. You get bonuses to this stuff. Come on. So, Charisma's going to 17. Constitution's going to 13. And Strength is going to 14. We get, let's see, 4 and 8 with Warlock, 4 and 8 with Paladin. So we're getting 8 points to drop in here. So I definitely think 3 of them. Charisma is absolutely our max stat. So 3 of them are going here. We get 5 more. So let's put 1 in Constitution. And then I think we can bring our Strength up to 18. Unless, I don't know. He can carry a sword. He might not be the best with it, but maybe he carries it. He has training. Because we met our minimum like that. What if instead we actually put it either in intelligence, or we brought up his wisdom for his insight? That might work, to put his wisdom up to 14. Because he doesn't have to hit hard with his sword when he can do all of this other fantastic stuff. He can't wear heavy armor anyway, so he doesn't need anything higher than a 13. You know what? I like this. Let's pump up his wisdom. Your party likes to try to sacrifice me by pushing in the front, and I'm just like, okay, I suppose why not? Send out the big dumb Hulk Barbarian. Barbarians are good if you don't have a rogue, because both of them will just end up diffusing all the traps in the hallway. Just one makes them so they don't go off, and the other just sets them all off and says, eh. Alright, so with this, we have 2 strength, 2 dex, 2 con, -1 intelligence, 2 wisdom, and 5 charisma. Our strength saving throws 2, athletics 2, 2's down the line for dex, 2 for con, 5s for our 3 fields of study, but a -1 for saving throw, arcana, and history. Our wisdom saving throw is 8, our insight is 8, and everything else is 2. And for charisma, we are at a mighty 11 saving throw, 11 performance, 11 persuasion, 5 deception, and 5 intimidation. Our passive perception is 12, as that's 10 plus our perception modifier. That equals just your natural awareness of things that are going on around you. Our armor class, that's... Off the keyboard, bud. Come on. That's really going to depend on the type of armor we're wearing. If it's medium armor, we're going to cap out at our 2 decks anyway. So this is... I'm floating this because we have a level 18 character. And we can wear traditional armor, magic armor. It's really tough to say. Our initiative is a +2, as that is simply a dexterity check. Our current hit points. We started with the Warlock, and so we get all 8 of our Warlock hit points at level 1. And then for the remaining 9 of our 10 levels, you get half +1 of your hit points, of your hit die and hit points. So that's 5. Then for all 8 of our Paladin levels, we get half +1. Just because you took your first level in Paladin doesn't mean you get the 10 unless your DM says otherwise. Then for all 18 of our levels, we get bonus hit points equal to our Constitution modifier. And so here's our simple math. We have 36 bonus hit points, which is nice. We have 45 from Warlock. And then we have 48. There we go. So we put this together, and this is going to be 54. This is 84. Plus 8 is going to be 92. We have 97. We have 137 hit points at level 18. What's the question, Shukan? Only if our barbarian didn't have fear of the dark and had dark vision, maybe we could send him into disarm traps by triggering them. If only. But still, that's an interesting character concept. I kind of like that. Draku Sathion posted that sheep witch sticker you were talking about yesterday. Oh, yeah, I'll take a look at it later, there, sheeps. If the TOS contradicts the rules of the First Amendment, are they even legally binding anymore? It's a... as this is a private platform, Shukan, Twitch can set their own rules because this isn't a public venue or a public space. Yep, Sheep's got it. Now our evangelist here has earned a name. And so I am open to names if you all have something here, because we have a character. Well, almost 100%. Hang on. If we're attacking with our spells, we're going to be at a +11 to hit, whether it's a Paladin spell or a Warlock spell, and to resist us, you need a 19 or better to save. If we're attacking with a strength or a dex weapon, it's going to be it's still a good +8. With either strength or dex. You know, we're very well-rounded physically. A half-elf. We rolled a half-elf. Vaska is his first name, says O'Sheeps. So down here, 19 to resist us, plus 11 to hit with our stiffs. Whoops, plus 111 apparently. And we have a pool of lay on hands equal to 40 hit points. We have our spell slots. And so what we're going to do is, as a paladin now, we can prepare... our charisma is 5, and we half of our paladin level is 4. So we can prepare 9 paladin spells. And of course, when you prepare those, you can drop those anywhere that you have spell slots. Now, in this case, it's for our paladin. We can cast up through our warlock spell slots, but we can't cast level 5 paladin spells. So we can drop 9 spells here. And those are just going to float wherever. However, we have a fixed spell list with our warlock. And so showing you here what we're going to do, right? Spells known at first level is 2, and then we add a spell going up with new spell levels on the odd levels. So level 1, this is what we get. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And of course, you don't have to build it this way. This is just if you take it as you get it. But when you level up as a warlock, you're not as mutable with your spells as you are as a paladin. But every level, you can change out an invocation and a spell. And as long as you have a spell slot for it, you can move a spell up. You can move a spell down. Just because you hit level 7 doesn't mean you need to take a level 4 spell. Put it as a level 1 spell that you really like. There we go. And specifically, if we want, we can put Warlock level 1. Because if you do go through and, and put down like a common spell suite or something for your Paladin, you may wish to keep those apart or separate here. Or separate them, I mean. Keep them apart or keep them separate, right? It's redundant. Plus those spell slots go into smiting? Maybe. You know, Paladin is more support for this character. And I see smiting as an option. I don't think we're really going to have a heavy smiter with this character. Yeah, you can trade one spell per level. Yeah, New Monica. If Vaska is in stone, then I'm sad about this character getting killed by a Medusa so early. But now we have to make a new character. You know, so what smiting would do, Draku Sathion, he would, to make a point in his fervor to deliver the truth, to show that he wields manifest power. He might smite someone in combat, but he's definitely more casty. And so what I would see him do is use Warlock Levitate to go up, and then maybe like plunge down on someone, so maybe he's getting advantage to help make up for his a weaker strength, and smite someone that way. Or he'd take his weapon, like a warhammer or something, and to make a point, he'd like, bring it down on the podium, and then he'd smite the podium to show, power. So the smiting is like an exclamation point to what he's doing. It's not going to be a bread and butter mechanic for him. Oh, and you know what? You learn the Find Familiar spell and can cast it as a ritual. It says can. It doesn't mean that, in a pinch, when you cast a spell, you can choose one of the normal forms for your familiar, or a special form, an imp, a pseudo-dragon, a quasit, or a sprite. Additionally, when you take the attack action, you can forego one of your own attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own. So we have our Pact Boon. I mean, I put Chain Pact up here, but I forgot to write down that this is... I think Find Familiar is a 2nd level spell. Let's double check real quick. Yep, fine. Oh, 1st level. Yeah, there we go. So, Chain. Find Familiar. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Flavorful. In combat for sure, but in roleplay also. I mean, think of all the ways you might be able to proc advantage in a situation, or to just super heavily get into the roleplay of the character. Absolutely. And some people might go, what? Smiting out of combat? Smiting for roleplay? What is this? What is this? But you know what? That's exactly who this character is. And he is going to do it well. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so you know what? You know, beyond doing something like, you know, what the companion for the familiar, of course, you can always just reference what it is, and we're going to reskin it as a worm anyway. We have a completed character. That's how you are with your character, that you're willing to do things for show to drive home who he is and not just what he does mechanically, because I definitely respect that. There you go, O'Sheeps. For utility, yep, a little splash. You know, it's a little reserve pool of magic to do cool stuff. Are you gonna draw him, O'Sheeps? I'd love to see your rendition of what you think he looks like. Excellent.